It's Wednesday, November 13th, 2019. This is the Basement Grown Fun Guys podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Tony, and today we are going to be talking about movies and television. Going to be touching on movie and TV series that we like very much, What We Do in the Shadows. We're going to be talking about Disney Plus, various streaming services, and their impact on our culture as a whole, and how everybody is just going to go back to pirating everything until there's a better alternative.
Mm-hmm.
So, John, just as a disclaimer, everybody, this will contain spoilers for the TV series and the movie What We Do in the Shadows. Um, if you don't want spoilers, just go ahead and just leave.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be talking about the show and we're going to be talking about the movie, and they're both very good. So if you want, go check them out. The movies, I think it's on Amazon. I think you have to rent it, and the TV series is on Hulu. So,
Mm-hmm.
what'd you think, John?
I thought the TV show was brilliant. I think I kind of spoiled it for myself watching the movie after starting the TV series because
Yeah.
a lot of the shit they do in the TV show is the exact same that they did in the movie. So the jokes were kind of like, oh, well, kind of been there, kind of seen that, done that, whatever. But
It's a little bit of rehashing old ground, but at the same time, I mean, with new characters, it kind of, it definitely expands on the universe that the movie created.
yeah, but I think the show was doing a better job of that than the movie did. So,
Yeah.
um, but the movie was still good, and I do like some of the actors they had. Well, I wasn't too familiar with the actors except for Watiti or what however you say his name. I don't know how to say it.
The
So
director, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
The guy that directed Thor Ragnarok, he also was the voice of Korg. Very funny
Right.
guy. He actually has another movie coming out. What's that movie called?
Jojo Rabbit.
Yes.
Jojo Rabbit. I think Jojo Rabbit's already out, but
Yeah, I think you're right. That
I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I'm looking very much forward to it.
yeah, it does look funny. For people who haven't seen any trailers for it, it's like a spoof on like Hitler Germany and how kids were kind of like brainwashed and propaganded into service, I guess. I think that's about all I know of it, and it's not like a dark movie. It's definitely supposed to be a funny like it's a satire. It's definitely supposed to be a funny movie. So anyway,
Right.
w-
Yeah, he's great. I
yeah,
like him a lot. I don't know. I feel like the TV show kind of outshined the movie to a degree because I mean the movie obviously came first. It was kind of testing the waters, right?
hmm,
And it tried to cram a lot into a short time span, which I mean, there were a lot of a lot of funny things I could tell he wanted to try and cram in there. And it's very quick.
yeah,
It's very quick. It's very one after the other, jokes and puns and things that you need to pay attention to catch, right?
hmm,
And then, the TV show basically just took those ideas and expanded on them. And I think part of the whole idea behind rehashing the old ground there is that, people might be like you and they watched the TV show before the movie, right? Or they had
hmm,
never watched the movie or they didn't care or whatever. So some of the jokes, some of them were at times, especially like the pilot episode, right?
hmm,
Kind of similar, but I think that was intentional.
yeah,
Like I think he did that on purpose. And at the same time, I mean, the characters. Oh man, I love all the characters. I
yeah,
love Nadia and Laszlo at the same time. I think they have a very nice dynamic with each other.
hmm.
Um, the baby, the fucking baby at the end.
um,
And
and
I like the callbacks to all the other vampire tropes and all the other little all the thing. Because now that I think back on the TV show, God, there was a lot that they crammed in there, like Laszlo's vulva garden and
hmm,
the going out on the town and the other vampires in Manhattan
yeah,
and
um,
yeah.
the familiar of the vampires again. Spoiler warning. So if you don't really want to, they did a DNA test which I thought was
Yeah.
brilliant. I thought was just a genius idea. Well, the familiar of the like kind of like the team lead vampire, whatever. The familiar turns out to be a descendant of Van Helsing. So,
Just a little bit of Dutch in there, you know, just
mhm.
a little bit of Dutch.
And what happens during the show is like he ends up killing the the Baron, which
Mhm.
he's not, actually a Baron. It turns out because he doesn't have any junk downstairs, so he's Baron. Um, but he ends up killing the Baron, and doesn't he kill somebody else?
Yep, he kills one of the henchmen when they go to the council to be tried for killing the Baron.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, but the funny thing about the council is like the council was another genius thing, like that played into the fact that there was a movie already made. So um, the council consisted of a bunch of random ass actors that are actually playing the act themselves,
Uh-huh.
plus the characters from the movie.
Yeah.
So
And all the actors played vampires in previous roles, and it was all it was all great. And then fucking Wesley Snipes on the
yeah,
Skype connection where it's
yeah,
cutting out. I got the best internet. It's
yeah.
great.
So yeah, you had Wesley
Could
Snipes.
Tom and Brad make it? No, Tom and Brad couldn't make it. Oh, okay. That's fine. What about Edward? Nope, he couldn't make it. He was tied up.
Yeah. So the big thing was, so you had Tilda Swinton, which was like kind of the like leader. You had Wesley Snipes, his Blade character. What's I can't think of his name. Machete. What is his name?
What?
The Mexican guy.
Oh, Danny Trejo?
Yeah. Why can I not
Yeah.
think of his name? Um.
They had Evan Rachel Wood from True Blood. She
Okay,
was in
so
there as well.
that's where she was from. I haven't watched too
Uh-huh.
much True Blood, so I didn't really know who she was, but um.
Yep. And then, I mean, they made allusions to other characters as well, like Tom and Brad being Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt from Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah.
Edward Cullen, Robert Pattinson from Twilight
Yeah.
series. God damn it. They even make
um.
jabs at Twilight too, like when they were gonna have the creepy ceremony. So
Mhm.
he's going to cover himself in glitter like Robert Pattinson in Twilight. Going to get creepy paper.
Yeah.
Crepe paper. Yes, is what they said. The creepy paper. Uh, God,
Um.
so good.
And then they actually had Dave Bautista in there too. Um.
Mm,
For Marvel fans or WWE fans. Um, he's the guy that plays Drax. He was the guy that they ran into before actually going and seeing the council, where they're like,
uh-huh.
"Oh, we're not the council. We've just been stuck here for thousands of years or whatever."
Yep.
Um,
Oh yeah, I think you guys are innocent. Yeah, you sound fine to me, but yeah, we're not the council though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, so what's funny about why Dave Bautista's in there is because somebody who he got framed for this was one of the vampires turned a baby into a vampire, which is a big no, which actually turns out to be Laszlo. um so that was funny,
Hmm.
and then they actually had the fucking baby in the council
Yep.
meeting.
And they also had that one guy from Buffy was there. I can't
Really?
remember his name. Yeah, yeah, he was there. He's a fucking oh fuck, what's his name?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, anyways, it's all great for people who are very big fans of vampire movies and
Hmm.
mythos, and it was all in good fun. It was all very
Yeah,
funny. Um,
I think it did more justice for vampires than Twilight did, so there's
oh
that.
yeah, definitely. Definitely made vampires cool again. Fucking
Yeah.
Nadia. Oh my god. Every once in a while I think about Nadia and like the little nerdy girl that she turned into a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Stalking the night, turning into that weird ass little bat baby thing.
Mm-hmm.
She bat just turn into bats. I think my favorite line though is when Nadia meets her reincarnation of her previous lover,
Mm-hmm.
and she's really upset with how boring he is in this life because he's just a night watchman. In previous nights, he was like, in previous lives, he was like a knight and like a warrior, and that now he's just a boring guy.
Yeah. But so okay.
Even your name is so boring. It's like a weak ejaculation. Jeff.
But again, this is why bringing that up is so his original name was Gregor, so it's a little bit
Mhm.
stronger, better name. No offense to anyone named Jeff.
Yeah, no offense if your name is Jeff, but your name does kind of sound like a weak ejaculation. Jeff.
I hope my uncle doesn't see this. But anyway,
Love
so
you,
his
Uncle Jeff.
his names was Gregor, and but the thing is, so in pretty much every one of his past lives, he was decapitated. Well, it turns out
Mhm.
every single one of those decapitations happened at the hands of Laszlo.
Yes. Who is not just true husband.
Yeah. So
God, that
there's
orgy. The orgy scene.
yeah.
Laszlo going through all of the porno films he's made since film and movies were a thing.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just boring. It's just boring. I don't like to watch it.
mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff in that show, and they got more coming out in 2020, I think.
uh I think my favorite character probably is Colin Robinson, the energy vampire.
Oh,
I
yes.
went I went as Colin to Halloween for like to go to work as Colin because there was like a
Really?
work costume thing. Yeah, I just basically just wore a sweater vest and my vampire fangs, and I went around explaining to everybody that I was an energy vampire. And then I explained my uncle's collection of holiday mugs that were all very festive, and just basically go on and drain people's energy.
Yeah.
Trust me, if you don't know an energy vampire in your life, you probably are the energy vampire.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows somebody who's like that, who just sucks the life out of them by just talking to them.
Yeah, it's the character that you're or the person you just like you can't wait for the conversation to end and like you feel
Uh,
better afterwards. Um
just the constant stuff. You just want to scream at them. Just I don't give a I don't care. I don't care about the appointment that you scheduled with your neurologist. They had to get a referral to a dermatologist because it was actually a skin issue, but not actually nerve. Just shut up. Just shut up, man.
yeah.
Sorry. I get
Um
it.
but
So Colin is a very relatable character to most.
and then so then there's the person that she comes in later and like they actually her and Colin date for a little bit. I forget her name. I'm terrible with
Yeah.
names. Uh she is an emotional vampire where she feeds off the emotions and pity of other people. So she's the one that always has a sad story, is always just like my grandmother died, my cat died, my cat has can't like all that stuff.
My sister's addicted to drugs and I have to take care of her, and I live in a box outside. I just sleep at my desk because my house got foreclosed on. A very advanced form of energy vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Um
date for a while, and eventually they break up, but it's not easy.
yeah.
Gotta love
Uh
Colin. And then they go to the city council meeting, and Colin's just
his
sitting there
guys
feeding the whole time. He's ah, rah, rah. And the zoning issue that affects the 13th district would
Oh yeah, that's right. Because they go to the city council. You're okay. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, because they're
Um,
trying to take over New York. They're trying to take over Staten Island because the Baron came back and he wanted them to take over all the humans, but they had made no progress thus far.
mhm.
Yes. Can you get up, Colin? Oh, I can't get up right now, if you know what I mean. uh, good shit. Good shit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I am very much looking for more from this show, which again, it's on Hulu and should be coming out in 2020. I think is uh what the page says on Hulu.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um,
2020.
yep, can't come soon enough.
Yeah. I want to know when they're going to do that sequel that has to do with the werewolves, because that was in the works for a little while and then they scrapped it in favor of the vampire show.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
They were gonna do one about the werewolves, because I mean the werewolves are in there too, and that's pretty funny because the werewolves are
Yeah.
pissing on his hedges, and he puts out a trap, and it's a big deal. Fucking, you know who I really miss though? You know who's a really great guy? Stu. I miss Stu.
Mm-hmm.
I miss Stu. I love Stu.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, in the movie, Stu is a human that they accept into their group because he's just such a cool guy. He's a computer analyst, and he shows them like the internet and cameras and shit. And he's everybody just loves Stu. He's great,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just the most inoffensive, passive, like, oh yeah, I'm okay with this kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
I miss Stu. Stu was a good guy.
And then Stu ends up getting turned into a werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that happened. Um. So as we've been talking this, we brought up the fact that if we want to go ahead and transition into the next topic, because I think we're
Sure.
so good transitioning skills here. So talking about things being on Hulu, Disney Plus just came out, and
Hmm.
I'm getting to that point where like there are too many, and we knew this was going to come. We knew this was going to happen, or at least I thought it was going to happen. Is that there are way too many streaming services. You know, you got Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus now. All pretty much any kind of news channel has a streaming service that you can pay
Yeah.
for.
Amazon Prime, Spectrum's got their own streaming service.
It
Fucking
HBO
YouTube
does.
Red. I don't know a single human being who's subscribed to YouTube Red.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone is subscribed to it. Like I don't know why it's still a thing. Have you ever met anybody who owns YouTube Red?
Nope.
Exactly. And I watch a lot of YouTube, but it hasn't even occurred to me that I would possibly want to purchase YouTube Red, because it's like, yeah, you get to play music when it's closed, when the app
Mm-hmm.
is closed, and I'm like, I don't Spotify. I don't like.
Yeah.
Why do I need that? I don't get it. I
And
don't know.
for me, I own all my music, so I collect CDs, so I have everything. So I definitely don't
Yeah.
need YouTube Red. Um
God, there's so many. Why are there
yeah.
so many streaming services? God, everybody wanted a slice of the goddamn pie.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. It'd be like if there was like 19 versions of Facebook. It's like everybody's still just gonna want to use Facebook, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you have Facebook for cats or Facebook for farts or Facebook for grandmas. It doesn't matter.
Fart book.
Everybody's still just gonna want to use Facebook. Everybody's gonna want to have it in one place.
Yeah.
Sorry, you missed the train ride. You missed the gravy train. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I mean, I get it because entertainment's such a huge, massive industry. Everybody wants to get on the streaming boat, but nobody understands that streaming is a service issue, right? People want their
Mm-hmm.
media and they want to be able to consume it on their time, on their schedule, and in the quality that they want.
Yeah.
You have that many streaming services. That's just cable with extra steps. That doesn't make any sense. Why would I just do all
Mm-hmm.
that when I could just go back to pirating shit? No, Basement Grown Fungi's podcast does not condone pirating in any way, shape, or form.
Please
But
don't.
I pirate the fuck out of everything, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of paying for all of these streaming services. I'm tired of.
Well,
Oh god, the FBI is going to be at my door. I look. I just. Why would I pay okay, $10 a month here, $15 a month there, $9 a
Mhm.
month there. Eventually, you're going to end up paying like $60, $70 a month for streaming services when I could just pay $60, $70 a month for cable, right?
Yeah.
The only problem with cable is that you have less choice.
Mhm.
You don't get to pick and choose what you get to watch, right? You have to just basically take whatever's on right now, right? Which sucks. And there's commercials, and then but then the streaming services are like, ooh, we want ad revenue too, so we're gonna cram commercials in there all the time. Like if you have Hulu without ads, you know the struggle, right?
Oh, but here's the thing, and I accept that, and I like having Hulu with ads because I like being cheap.
Yeah, without
Um,
the ads, it's worth it.
eh, we'll see. Well, the other thing is okay. So because I need to get Disney Plus because of all the Marvel shit and all that stuff, which brings me into
Don't
a
do it, John. Don't do it.
well, for all the Star Wars and Marvel stuff, I gotta do it, and I'm one of those goody two shoe guys that I can't pirate shit. Um, but anyway, but my problem is all the exclusive stuff that kills me because in order to get and see everything, you have to get every single streaming service. You know,
Hmm.
so and that's one of the things that are killing me is like especially with Disney Plus. Now, a good thing with Disney Plus and for me is that I already have Hulu, so you can actually bundle Disney Plus with Hulu, and it's you're kind of just doubling the cost of what
Right.
Hulu is already. But I was actually looking at the list for what Disney has going for it.
Well, they got a lot of good shit.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of good shit on there.
Now the good thing for them though, and why they can actually keep it so cheap too, because if you look at the cost of Disney Plus standalone compared to Netflix, is like half the price. But it's because Netflix doesn't own any other shit except for their originals, which
Hmm.
I'm putting my bet right now that Netflix within 10 years will not exist. I don't even know if it's going to do 10 years.
Um, 10 years, yeah, maybe, but I think that they're holding their own with their originals. The only problem with their originals, right, is that the first few were hella good, and
Mhm.
then as time has gone on, it's just kind of like they're just they're just cramming a bunch of other shit in there and saying Netflix original, so people are
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, I'm gonna watch this," but then it turns out that it sucks. Like it's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, that wasn't that good," and then they also brand things like foreign movies that they put on Netflix as Netflix originals because they own
Yeah.
the U.S. streaming rights to it. And it's like that's not a Netflix original. Netflix didn't make that. What are you talking
Mhm.
about?
But even then, I'm just like some of the Netflix originals that have come out recently are just they're subpar, they're not great. And I mean, and the thing is as more and more as other streaming services come about and they as they pull their own rights that because they own that's the thing is where Netflix for the most part is kind of pigeonholed because um a lot of their material, a lot of the stuff that people really watch and want from Netflix, they don't own. And so
Yeah.
I just see at some point like you look at Disney and the Marvel kind of stuff. Netflix had all the Marvel stuff on there, but because Disney decided to open up their own streaming service, which I mean they should, because of how much they own. I mean it's just smart business, really. Um,
Right.
Now they're going like everyone like they Netflix doesn't have that anymore, so it's going to be you know Netflix is going to lose a lot of shit. And the thing is, it's going to be the same thing. Like I think NBC is pulling out stuff from Netflix, and so I think NBC is the one who own The Office, so that's another
Yep.
big thing. And it's just more and more stuff like that's just gonna keep disappearing from Netflix, and then their originals. I don't think can keep Netflix afloat because I
Nope.
don't think they're good enough.
I don't think so either. They've either got to pull some strings or it's going to go the way to the dodo. They laughed
Hmm.
at Blockbuster, but hey, you got it. Sometimes, your time comes
Yeah.
and it's over for you. All things are impermanent, Netflix included.
Hmm.
I just think that as we see more streaming services, we're going to see a vast resurgence in pirating and pirated materials.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, that's the way it was when it was like Netflix was first coming onto the scene.
Hmm.
I mean, everything was just pirate this, pirate that. I mean, pirate Game of Thrones, pirate the fucking Mad Men, pirate like whatever you want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a plethora of pirating sites that you can just hop onto and stream it live, right, in decent quality. So why would you pay for it? And then they
Yeah.
offered, this is the issue that pirating has generally, is that it's unregulated, so the quality can suffer, right? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how many times I've tried to watch a pirated movie and the audio doesn't sync up, so I gotta like put it into VLC player and like fuck with the audio settings to try and get it to sync
Mm-hmm.
up, you know. Or it's a foreign movie and you download it and it doesn't have any subtitles, right? You have to download a
Yeah.
separate subtitle pack, and then you download the separate subtitle pack, and all of a sudden you have three toolbars on Google Chrome, and your computer's language is switched to Russian, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, that's the problem with pirating, is that it's unregulated, it's unsafe, can have malware, and the quality's not there.
Yeah.
Only problem is you have to determine what the cost that you're willing to pay for these things that you want. And for some people, all of these streaming services all together, it might be worth it for them. They'd have to crunch out the money, like, oh, this is $15 a month, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I've watched like 5 movies this month, and so that means each movie is like $3 a piece. So that's a decent cost for me. I'm willing to supplement that, right? But if you're the sort of person that only every once in a while watches something, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem with subscription services. Like, you might watch a movie a month. Like, if you're really busy, like if you're a busy, young, up and coming urban professional, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yuppie scum. If you are busy, right? You don't have the time to watch enough of these streaming services to make sure that it's worth it.
Yeah.
Like, I get more mileage out of Hulu nowadays than I do out of Netflix, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
more mileage that I get out of Hulu, the less mileage I'm getting out of Netflix. So that subscription starts to be less worth it. But I want to keep Netflix because they still have a couple of shows on there that I want to watch. So it's all opportunity cost, and eventually it's just going to reach the point where, I mean, the opportunity cost just isn't there, because it's like, oh well, I can't have 10 different streaming services to watch what I want to watch. Sorry guys, the ones that have the less material that I want are going to get cut.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I think that the solution to this problem, because it is really just a service and cost benefit kind of thing, it's that kind of problem, is the price of these streaming services has kind of been like deadlocked into $10 to $15 a month.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should lower it. And
Yeah.
that's not just out of greed, that's just out of pure,
Well, that's the thing is like,
like
yeah.
sense, like supply and demand, right?
Mm-hmm.
You lower the price so that people, like, if Disney Plus was, yeah, it's $4.99. It's like, whoa, $4.99 for all this? Shit, yeah, I'll sign up, right?
Well,
So
that's
instead of paying $30 a month for having a 15.99 and a 15.99, or not a 14.99, like two $15 subscriptions and pay $30 a month, you're only paying 20. So it's like, 115 and 1.5. So it
mm-hmm.
makes it more lucrative. So you get more people who wouldn't necessarily want to join that streaming service to join it, because it doesn't cost as much. It's, you know, once people have an effective legal avenue to watch these things, more often than not, people opt for the legal route. They don't
Mm-hmm.
just go pirate it just because, you know, they're scummy and they don't want to spend any money. Most people don't have a problem spending money if they feel like they get out of it what they put into it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's how I feel with Hulu. Like, I pay $7 for Hulu every month, but the thing is I pay 15 for Netflix, or 12, 13, whatever it is. Which then that's the
Mhm.
thing that gets me is like, for because I think with Disney Plus you can get Disney Plus and Hulu combined for $13, which for me is a great price. I mean, I feel
Right.
like I can get my money's worth out of that. And I think that's the point, is with Netflix, I do not feel like I'm getting what I pay for anymore. Especially when all I have to watch is shows I've already watched before.
Mhm.
Um, so I think you know, I think the big thing now that I want to, I want to see and watch is the new Star Wars stuff and new Marvel stuff. So of course I'm going to get Disney.
Right.
But the thing is, like, so you look at Amazon Prime, and Amazon Prime is another big one. Like, it's probably like the big. Now you kind of have like the big, I'd say 3 or 4. Being Hulu, Amazon Prime, Netflix, and Disney Plus. But I would say Hulu is actually pretty close to just being tied with Disney Plus because you can bundle it. So whatever.
Yeah.
But so the thing is, like, if you look at it that way, so you pay $13 for Hulu and Disney Plus versus $13 for Amazon Prime versus $13 for Netflix. So with Hulu and Disney Plus, you get Hulu and Disney Plus. That's two different streaming services, including a bunch of stuff that Disney owns, like not just the titles that I've already talked about, but like Nat Geo or National Geographic and stuff like that. So you have Hulu and everything. So there's a huge selection to pick from, unlike Netflix, which I feel is becoming more and more limited. Now,
Hmm.
so that's the thing, is like, so there's a direct comparison for them, is that Disney Plus and Hulu combined cost pretty much just as much as Netflix, but you get so much more with Disney Plus and Hulu. Now, now with Amazon Prime though, it's Amazon Prime, and you get so much more outside of just media entertainment with Amazon Prime. And that's my selling point for Amazon Prime for me, is the 2-day free shipping or day free shipping or even same day free shipping nowadays.
Hmm.
Um, so that's a huge selling point for them. So they honestly, I feel like that's justified.
Yeah.
I get movies, and honestly, I get also this is the big thing I came into recently, and I didn't even know about it. Was you get Twitch Prime for free, which means you also get a
Yep.
bunch of games and or items for games. Like I play World of Tanks, I play Rocket League, which I didn't tell you this, but everyone's watching me play Rocket League and play terrible right now. Um, so, but I got a free car and a free skin, some free
Uh,
skins and stuff like that. So for free with Amazon Prime, which I mean, well, free with Twitch Prime, which you get for Amazon, free for having Amazon
yeah.
Prime. Um, World of Tanks, I got a free tank. That's for the people who play World of Tanks. It's one of those like fully researched ones, so that every experience you earn from it, you can convert it, whatever. Anyway, it's a good tank too. It's not, it's not a super low level one, like it's a level 7. So I mean, that's a
Yeah.
decently high tier or high mid tier tank that you just get to play with. And you get it for free. Not free, but you get it because you have Amazon Prime. So that's one of those things, like another selling point for Amazon Prime. So right now, and me and my fiance were talking about this, like we need to cut one of these, especially if I'm going to add in um Disney Plus. We gotta cut one of these, and I think it's going to have to be Netflix, and that's what I'm talking about. I think a lot of people are going to start coming to this decision, or either coming to this decision or needing to, come to this, talking about either pirating and doing all this stuff. And I think Netflix is going to be one of those ones that's going to get hurt really bad by this, and then end up losing, and then actually, you know, falling apart. Um,
Right.
and then or Disney, of course, with how much money they have and how big of a thing they are, just comes in and buys Netflix, buys all their streaming stuff, and then Netflix gets dissolved into Hulu and Disney.
Yeah, and then Hulu ends or Disney starts rebranding it and says, "Yeah, it'll cost you another $10 to get Netflix." It's like, well, okay, but it's better than I. I just,
I don't I don't think they'll
I
do
just
that.
wish that I just wish that I just wish that they could just agree to to just to just make this media available for a reasonable price.
Mhm.
Okay, I wish they could just come together and there could just be one again, because if there are any of you dirty filthy weeaboos out there like I am, right, not only do you have to deal with all these western entertainment streaming services, but you also have to deal with Crunchyroll
Oh
and
yeah.
Funimation,
Mhm.
right? Now, I, for a while there, got I got Verve, okay, which was a streaming service that had both Crunchyroll and Funimation on it for one $9.99 package, right? Because I watched a lot of anime. So that was a good deal for me, right?
Mhm.
And then Crunchyroll said, all right, we're out. So Verve only had Funimation on it, right?
Yeah.
And some other stuff that I didn't really care about, you know?
Mhm.
So I had the choice. I could either get Verve slash Funimation, right? And Crunchyroll, or I could just have one or the other, right?
Mhm.
And I picked Funimation because I enjoyed their catalog more. And for the other things, I just pirate. Because a lot of these things, especially if it's not like a super mainstream anime, um,
Mhm.
they licensing gets tossed around like a hot potato and
Mhm.
fought over like the last piece of gold on the earth, right? So it just ends up being a big mess that just impedes my enjoyment of this content. Occasionally, meaning there are no legal ways for me to get this content. For instance, with ReZero, I believe it was ReZero was the specific anime.
Mhm.
Um, Funimation did the dub for it. However, Crunchyroll owned the rights to the series as a whole. When
Mhm.
Crunchyroll started fighting with Funimation over licensing and they pulled out of Verve to kind of push Crunchyroll Premium on everybody, they decided, well, Funimation, you can't you can't stream this on your service. And then Funimation said, well, okay, but you can't have our dub.
Mhm.
Okay. So if you wanted to watch the dubbed version of ReZero and make fun of you all you might for watching dub over sub, but it's not for me. It's for someone else very close to me that I live with and care very much about. she she prefers dub over sub. So obviously,
Mm.
we would as a couple get more value out of the dub service,
Mhm.
but I have no legal avenue to watch this show dubbed. I don't. And I haven't checked recently, but I believe I still don't have any legal avenue to watch that in the United States.
Mhm.
So, R to the high seas I go, matey.
Yeah. Um.
So, with bringing an anime streaming service into the mix, it's just a whole nother can of worms. Because on top of Hulu and Netflix and Amazon and Disney Plus and Spectrum and YouTube Red and Crunchyroll and Funimation and Verve and just holy shit. this- I if I paid for every single streaming service that has a show that I want to watch, I'd probably be paying around like $70-$80 a month just on
Mhm.
streaming services.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that because I already pay for Spectrum for internet. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
It's getting me all fired up, John.
I'm sorry. Well, and the thing is, it's a big topic. It's something that needs to be
Uh,
talked about, and like and again, it's like you said, like if if streaming services aren't careful, this big divide is going to end up costing companies and I think people a lot of headache. I'm and this is I mean that's kind of my thing is like I don't want to go to like 6 different streaming services to get everything I want. I want it all in one place and that's honestly that's really what I would love to see is someone come up with a single service that, while you it might be extremely expensive because you're actually buying all the
mhm.
separate things, but it actually houses it all in one place, you know, I would do that.
Right.
I'd pay $80 or not $80, but maybe 60 or
Well,
$70.
just make it a little bit cheaper than having all of those streaming services all at once, and then there you go.
Mhm. Or
I
the other
just want to have it all in one spot.
yeah, and that's my thing. I agree because I don't want to I don't want to have like 6 different tabs on my computer saying, "Okay, here's this one for Hulu," and then having to try and remember what shows on what because that's another problem like,
Yeah.
I was sitting on Netflix trying to find what we do in the shadows like a couple days ago. Like, where the fuck is this thing? Like, I
Yeah.
know it was just right here, but
Yeah,
then
I had that when I rewatched Wilfred recently. I was like, where the hell is Wilfred anyway?
yeah,
Is it on Netflix? No, it's an Amazon Prime show. It's gotta be. That's not on Amazon Prime. Where the hell? Oh, it's on Hulu. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I just had to keep going, you know, like I want to watch Cowboy Bebop. Who's got Cowboy Bebop for this
Mhm.
month? Because it seems like Cowboy Bebop gets tossed around like freaking candy. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, well, okay, Hulu's got it right now. What about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Well, it's not on Netflix anymore. Is it still on Netflix? No, it's not still on Netflix. Oh, it's on Hulu now. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hate doing that. It's so
No.
annoying.
And yeah, so honestly, okay, if anyone ever sees this podcast, and here's $1 million idea for you, is make a service that somehow gets all of these combined and like kind of like gets the rights to like, okay, we're still going to pay you, we're still going to get Hulu and Netflix and all these people paid, but we're going to go ahead and just have it all in one location, you know.
Hmm.
I think that's $1 million idea right now. Or, but the thing is, like, you just wait till one company monopolizes everything, which is inevitable, and you just wait till that happens, and then all the streaming stuff will be on one place anyway, and they're going to make you pay $100 anyway. So, um, yeah, I'm just
$1 million app idea.
yeah,
You know, $1 million app idea I just came up with. A site where you can just put in the name of a show and it'll tell you where you can watch it legally.
hmm yeah,
Somebody's probably already got it out there, but I doubt it's popular
yeah. Well,
because
another
I
thing,
haven't heard of it.
yeah, yeah, but the thing is that it's gonna if that does exist, that thing's gonna get real popular real quick as these years go. Because another thing that I want to talk about as far as streaming stuff, and what really disappoints me is the lack of. No, okay, hold on. Let me correct myself a little bit. For NFL mostly, because um, son of a bitch. Um, if the thing that sucks about the NFL is that if you are not in a certain area, you're never like, or unless you buy the Sunday ticket, which is outrageously priced, because DirecTV can do that. You'll never see your team's game unless you live in that team's area. You will never see every single game. Like, so, I live in Ohio. I'm a big Patriots fan. Boo me, is if you will. Been a Patriots fan for 15 years or whatever. Doesn't matter. But the problem is, living in Ohio, I can hardly like. I miss probably 4 or 5 games a year if I don't go through certain routes to watch the game, either going out to, a bar that has a Sunday ticket, or going to someone's house that has a Sunday ticket. But for me personally, I can't afford it because it's so goddamn expensive. But the thing
Hmm.
is, I think the NFL is sitting on a gold mine, because the thing is, like, I know DirecTV pays the NFL quite a bit to have the rights to do the Sunday ticket. But I mean, if the NFL just kind of was like, you know what, okay, we're going to start our own streaming service where a fan can pay X and X amount of dollars to watch every single one of their team's games, and then that's it. But you get again, we're talking about certain rights and whatever, is like, if you're a Verizon customer, you can watch X games. If you're Amazon Prime customer, you can watch X amount of Thursday night games. If you're ESPN subscriber, you can watch an X amount of Monday games, which is just confusing. And the other thing is, like, okay, so I have to like, okay, my team plays one Monday night game, one Thursday night game a year, so that means I have to have Amazon Prime for that Thursday night game. I have to have ESPN for that Monday night game. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Um,
that's streaming services is a whole nother thing, and I'm glad I'm a huge sports fan because I've heard some horror stories, man, and I'm hearing another one right now because
mhm.
Jesus Christ, man, that's too much, man.
It's a giant shit show. It really, like, we are in, probably, like, we're in those growing pain area of
Yeah,
streaming services. You know, I think it's going to get a lot better, but I think companies need to get their head out of their asses to really get this, to where it needs to be as far as like, making the overall public happy. So,
Yeah.
but companies tend to not really care about the overall public opinion too much, as long as they're making dollars.
Pretty much. Although once again, I gotta say, on the high seas, you can find a streaming service for pretty much any sports game that you want to watch.
Yeah. And I'm, I know there's totally not options for illegally watching football games. I know that doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't exist. They don't have that, so you're forced to go through these avenues.
Wink, wink. No, I got ways. But that's the other thing. It's like, so, or again, like if I want to watch certain games, I would have to go out to a fucking bar to watch it, and then that means spending money on food and drinks, and it's another like because I mean, because normally you never go to a bar or whatever by yourself, and so like if I go with my fiance, it's a $40 meal by the time we're done. So it's in. If I wanted to, I'd have to do that and watch every single game. I'd have to do that every single weekend, and that's $40 a weekend. That's expensive. And I mean,
Excuse me, barkeep, may I have a single glass of water and one chicken tender? Thank you. I will stay here until this game is over.
Yeah. Because and then the thing is that's just for the NFL. Then you also have college and all the other sports I like watching, which hockey, baseball. So I mean it's a nightmare, dude. It really is.
Why are all media companies evil?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't there just be like a good guy media company that's just kind of like, yeah, sure, you can have it. Fuck it, yeah, just pay what you want, dude. It's cool. I mean, just watch it, man. It's free.
Oh, you want to talk about evil media companies? Fucking Spectrum, which they will probably drop my drop my internet the moment they pick this up.
Fucking, oh, guys, that's it for tonight.
Yeah. Fucking Spectrum, dude. I swear. Okay, so for people who live in the Midwest area, I don't know the overall coverage area of Spectrum. But for the Midwest area and actually where I live, Spectrum is your only option as far as high-speed internet, like in good high-speed internet. We don't have AT&T, we don't have Cincinnati Bell. Spectrum is it, and they suck. Their customer service is garbage. Their equipment is garbage. We literally got a bricked modem given to us to start like our our house with or apartment with, and it's just like it's fucking terrible.
Preaching to the choir, man.
Yeah, if you're going to get Spectrum, what I highly recommend is getting a different brand modem and router.
Get your own router because we got the built-in Spectrum router and it sucks.
Wait,
we were out of.
What do you mean
the
built
one
in?
that they gave us, not built in. The one that there's like their version. It's a 2-in-1 router modem that also spits out Wi-Fi. Can you believe this? Okay, just real quick, I'm gonna vent about this. We were out of internet for 2 days. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, no idea why. Okay, and it was connected to the internet. We could tell it was connected to the internet, and the online light was on. However, it was like the Ethernet ports were dead, and it was not transmitting Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Okay. We had to wait for 2 days to get this technician to come out, right? And it really sucked because I really wanted to work from home one of those days. But guess what? You can't work from home if you don't have the internet because I can't remote into work.
Yep.
So, skip that, right? Well, 2 days later, technician comes out and he's like, "Oh, well, the lady on the phone should have been able to see this. They just don't have an instance or whatever the fuck he called it of your internet on this router right now. I guess it got reset somehow. So I'll just do that real quick. Beep, bop, boop. Okay, it's set. And actually, this is a problem with your router. It'll do this occasionally if you change the default password and the SSID. So if I have anything other than the default password on my Wi-Fi, it can just randomly stop working.
Yeah, it's
Apparently, it's just an issue with that modem. So,
uh-huh.
like, are you kidding me? So people can just war drive up to my apartment and, packet sniff, and it's just not secure. And it's also an easy way for one of my less than savory neighbors to just be like, "Oh, hey, the password. Oh, it's the same as the model number? Okay. Click, click, click. I'm stealing all your Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
That's why my internet's slow right now." But I can't do anything about that. So, yes, Spectrum can suck a bag of dicks.
No, my
The
favorite.
apartment I'm moving to a new apartment in February.
Oh.
They got they got Cincinnati Bell fiber
Oh,
optic.
really? You lucky bastard.
I mean, I looked for it.
Mhm.
I found it. There
Oh,
ain't no luck about it, dog.
that
I
was
found it.
that was smart. So,
Yes. So
unfortunately,
I'm so excited.
for my unlucky soul up here, up north of Dayton, I can't get shit. So my
Mhm.
favorite thing that Spectrum does is they'll bottleneck your or cause internet disruptions in your house. And so for whatever the fuck reason, and I don't know how many times I've had to do this, they'll be like, okay, so you like as a guy that knows some technology stuff, I will reset my router, reset the modem, do everything I possibly can, and I'm like, okay, I'm done dealing with this. I'm doing it. I'm doing this the worst thing experience ever. I'm gonna call Spectrum,
Beep bop boop beep.
and
Then you get
all
that automated bitch with like the fake keyboard clacking.
mm-hmm. and then
We're looking you up right now.
so the whole entire thing, and then you wait, you go through this whole entire bullshit process about doing all this, takes longer than what it should take,
Uh,
and they're like, okay, go ahead and reset your modem. I'm like, we already did that. Well, go ahead and do it again. Go reset your modem, and it's magically fixed.
yup.
Somehow magically, just like, oh, it's fixed.
It's like, but I already did that. And that's because they got that little pump, that little switch. You see, the internet is not a big truck. The internet is a series of tubes. And what Spectrum does is they take a vice clamp, okay, and they
Mm-hmm.
squeeze your tubes until you bitch about it.
Mm-hmm.
But why? Why do they do that? Data is so cheap. If the infrastructure is already in place, you're not gaining anything from that, except for those couple of saps that you could dope into buying faster internet speeds, just so you can throttle it again. So they buy the faster internet speeds.
Mm-hmm.
Screw you, Spectrum. You're evil.
Yeah.
Evil.
The thing is, and the reason why that's why they give you these shitty modems is because they can easily do it with that. Thing is, and if you go buy your own, they can't do that anymore. So that's why I always suggest that everybody get your own router, get your own modem. Even like because even like cheap 2-in-1s are better than the shit that they give you.
Yep.
Um
And you might even be able to change the password on it.
mm-hmm. Because the thing is, I'm paying for Wi-Fi for myself. I'm paying for internet for myself, not for other people. So get your shit out of
Yes.
here.
Man,
Um,
I am so ready to be done with this shit. Oh my
mhm,
god. And you can get gigabit fiber optic cable for $65 a month with Cincinnati Bell.
really?
65 bucks a month. That's all it takes.
Yeah. Well, the other
But
thing
you
that
have to
fucking
live in their special little area.
mhm. The other thing that fucking really gets me is like they'll give you like Spectrum will like suck you in with this really good deal, and then a
Yep.
year after they'll raise the price and you can't do anything about it. Um, it, dude, I just Spectrum is one of those, and the thing is, they know they can get away with it because there's no competition. There's no
Yep.
one else in my area, or in a lot of what um, Midwestern Ohio, or not just Midwestern Ohio, but in the Midwest in general. Cincinnati Bell is one of those companies that have come along and has slowly been growing, but
Yeah.
um, they're just
And those
not.
are they're local too. I mean, they only service Cincinnati and Dayton and like northern
Yeah,
Kentucky. So like
and
they're small,
yeah, I need them to get I need them to go a little bit further north of Dayton than they are right now, and I will be happy. Like that's
Yeah.
all I need. And I will be more than happy to switch over to them. Just to lock in a decent cheap rate for 100. Because I don't
Well,
even. I,
I don't know if you can get fiber optic, but you know,
I
it
don't.
appears as though the area in which you live is serviced by Cincinnati Bell.
It's not. I've checked. Unless it's changed in the last. I mean, it might have changed. Maybe I need to check again. Because I need to probably check every couple of months. You know, you never know how fast they're growing. But I'm not worried about fiber optic. I just want because I don't need it. You know, I don't have enough internet draw to really need more than 100 megabytes to be happy. If I can get 100
Mhm.
megabytes, I am, peachy. But
Wouldn't you want 1,000 megabytes?
I mean, of course I would. But with the shit, it's one of those things. Like you always want better. You always want the best. But with the shit I've had to deal with Spectrum, I would literally just be happy with a consistent 100 that I know is going to be good service and just reliable and not a bunch of bullshit. That's all I really
Mhm.
want. Because my fiance, she doesn't use the internet too much, other than when we stream shows, and really that doesn't take a whole lot, so um damn.
Yeah.
Um yeah, it's just man, yeah. And then I like so that's the other thing that gets me is I think Spectrum's really starting to feel the pinch about things because I think they're feeling the smaller companies starting to win because you look at all the shit they're trying to like start, like their own streaming service. They launched their own phone. You can get your own like
Mhm.
cell phone from Spectrum now. I don't know if anyone actually does that, and I hope if you do, you change your mind and wise up because you're part of the
Mhm.
problem now. Because I mean, really, what needs to happen is the people need to boycott Spectrum. But the problem is, I also want to play games. That's how
How do you boycott Spectrum when the internet is such a like needed service
yeah.
nowadays? Like it should really be treated like water and sewage at this point. It's a utility,
Hmm.
right? So, I mean, the energy service that I use is beholden to the government for certain restrictions. Why the
Hmm.
hell isn't why isn't my internet service held to the same
Yeah.
standards, because internet is still viewed as a luxury rather than
Yeah.
something necessary. And I just think that that's overlooking how necessary the internet is in this day and age. I
Hmm.
mean, if you're watching this podcast, you have internet, right? You know how good it is.
Or you're watching it at a library or something. Um.
Yeah, but even then, you're still using it's like taking a shower at the gym, right? You're still taking a shower. You still need that
Mm,
service, you know,
yeah.
to fill out job applications, to look up the weather, to just to do so many different things.
Hmm.
There's alternatives, but the alternatives are so few and far between nowadays, you know.
Yeah. Um. And I think that is one of those things that I'm all for kind of government staying out of certain things, but it comes to a point where I think the government should step in. It's because it's just like just as a necessity, as far as like people should have basic internet that is not fucking DSL. DSL is not internet because you can't even do anything on DSL anymore or dial up, whatever you want to call it. Because that's free to
Yeah,
everybody. You can get that anywhere
and
for
I can
free.
tell you straight up, satellite internet is not good enough for modern web browsing. A
Hmm.
lot of people say that it is, but it's not. Speaking as a software developer myself with a lot of web development background, no, you can't do it. Because the Node modules package that you need to download in order to run this site is bigger than your data allotment for the month.
um,
So can we just have a moment of silence for our poor rural brethren who are forced to use satellite internet because the infrastructure to have DSL is not in place?
hmm. But yeah, I mean, the other thing is like, I mean, it's
It was a good moment.
yeah. Sorry.
Those poor guys
Yeah.
out there in the boonies.
The thing is, it is not. It is a pretty standard thing that we should be like 100 megabytes is like so easy and so readily available that it should be available to everybody. Um, but actually, we can keep going on this forever, and we're about to hit our hour. But I want to leave this nugget with how terrible Spectrum really is. A person I know,
Mm.
his parents offered to pay Spectrum to dig a line out to their house, which wasn't actually that far away from their main line.
Yeah.
Spectrum declined and says we're not going to do it, even though the guy was willing to pay X amount of like thousands and thousands of dollars to do it.
Yeah, it was a lot of money because they're not super poor. They got the money to pay Spectrum to dig a line out to
Yeah,
their house, but that just didn't. They were just like, nope, we're not going to do it. Not enough
yeah.
people, not enough monthly bills to go through in order for us to do that. And it's like, are you kidding me?
And so Spectrum literally turned that down, like for free. Like this is literally free money for Spectrum. Like Spectrum could have just like easily made a good, nice green mark in their book for the year by doing this. And nope,
Hmm.
they didn't want to do it because fuck Spectrum. That's why.
So, little tidbit, just a funny little tidbit that I thought I would share. I was just checking how big the home page for these different sites are. Farmersonly.com is 271 kilobytes to load up the main page, right? It's fairly small. eHarmony is 1.24 megabytes. Just so you know, that the developers of FarmersOnly.com took into consideration the limitations of rural internet access. However, some sites would not.
Hmm.
So, just throwing that out there. I just thought I'd look just to see just out of curiosity,
Hmm.
some modern sites do not allow for that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think with that, I think we're going to wrap it up for the week. For another, I think the fifth installment of the Basement Growing Fun Guys, and we actually made it 2 weeks in a
We
row
did it
now.
2 weeks in a row.
God, it's
Can't
fucking
believe it.
miracle.
Can you believe it?
No, I can't believe it. I'm pretty sure something messed up. Something's got to
Well,
go wrong. All
oh
right.
shit, my audio was muted.
Um. So, all right. So this has been Basement Growing Fun Guys. Wednesday, November 13th, 2019. Another podcast in the books. John signing off.
Bye, guys.
All right.